Epilogue, Embers Dawn. The sky glowed in hues of gold and crimson as the first light of dawn broke over the mountains, spilling warmth over the once barren valley below. Azural stood on the edge of a cliff, her gaze sweeping across the landscape she had fought to protect, now lush with new growth, its grasses swaying gently in the morning breeze. Tiny dewdrops clung to the leaves, catching the light like scattered jewels, a quiet testament to her choice, to restore, to renew rather than to destroy. Beside her Talvar stood silently, his armour still marked by the scars of battle, but his expression softened with hope. He looked at Azural, and his eyes held the same awe and respect as when he first recognized her true power. "You did it," he said, his voice a gentle murmur. Azural turned to him, her eyes shifting from their fierce gold to a tranquil blue. "We did it," she corrected, her voice carrying a warmth and gratitude that filled the morning air. For all her strength, she knew this victory had been shaped by more than just her fire. It was the courage and resilience of those who had stood by her side. Soraya approached, her robes rustling softly in the breeze, her magic-infused staff glowing with residual energy. She looked at Azural with a quiet admiration that needed no words. "Balance is restored," Soraya said softly, "but there will always be those who seek to undo it." Her voice carried a bittersweet note, acknowledging her own place in the eternal cycle. Azural nodded. She could feel it too, an undercurrent of darkness still lingering, scattered and weakened, but never fully gone. She knew that one day the world might call on her again, but for now there was peace, a fragile peace that she had sworn to protect. Turning to her allies, Azural's form began to shift, her skin shimmering as scales like blue opals formed along her arms, her hair lifted in the air, her body expanding with effortless grace. In moments she stood before them as her full dragon phoenix self, her wings unfurling, casting a radiant glow across the valley below. Sunlight caught her wings, sending cascades of golden light over the landscape, a sight of awe, of reverence and a promise. Her voice echoed in Talvar and Soraya's minds, a powerful but gentle resonance. "This is only the beginning. The world may call us again, and when it does, we will be ready." With a single powerful beat of her wings, Azural took flight, ascending higher and higher into the dawn sky. The winds embraced her, washing away the fatigue of battle. She soared over the renewed valley, her heart lightened by the journey that had brought her here. But suddenly, her strength began to fade. Her wings faltered, her vision blurred, and a strange weight settled over her. A fierce pressure tightened in her chest, and her body convulsed as if seized by an ancient force. Panic surged through her as she fought to stay aloft, but the world around her darkened, the air thickening, pressing against her as she plummeted. Azural crashed through the dense canopy of a hidden grove, the untouched sanctuary absorbing the force of her descent with a reverent hush. Leaves and dust filled the air, settling around her as she lay in the heart of the grove, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. Pain lanced through her deep and consuming. This was no mere exhaustion, nor the aftermath of battle. It was something far older, more primal, stirring within her. With a dawning clarity, Azural understood. This was rebirth, the ancient cycle of death and life within her, pushing its way into the world. A roar tore from her throat, resonant with both agony and wonder, as she surrendered to the unstoppable force inside. Blue flames flickered over her form, not with rage, but with the fierce intensity of creation. The grove pulsed in response, its magic entwining with hers, embracing her. When the flames subsided, Azural looked down to see a small creature nestled within the crook of her wing. Tiny blue scales glistened on its skin, reflecting the morning light in delicate patterns. The newborn let out a soft melodic cry, a sound pure and alive, filled with the promise of new beginnings. Azural curled protectively around her child, her heart swelling with a fierce, unbreakable love. She gazed at the tiny creature, her own eyes shifting to a gentle amber as she took in the reflection of herself within it. The child's eyes, barely open, shone with a golden hue flecked with hints of silver, a sign of a new legacy, one that held the promise of both worlds, of fire and life intertwined. Exhaustion finally overtaking her, Azural rested her head beside her newborn, her voice a soft murmur in the stillness of the grove. "Your story is only beginning, little Ember.